Greetings and welcome to the Marrone Bio Innovations call. It is now my pleasure to introduce your host, Pam Marrone, CEO and founder. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for listening today. Our hearts go out to all of those disrupted by the COVID-19 situation. We at Marrone Bio are pioneering environmentally friendly and effective biologically based products for pest management and plant health. Now more than ever, farmers need products like ours to enhance their ROI in these challenging times. Today, I'll provide some basic background for those of you who have not heard the story before, but I'll also give a more specific update for those who are familiar with the story and would like to know what's going on with the company. Here is our safe harbor slide, just to take note. All of today's challenges in food security are met with products like ours. We can have an impact on all of the things going on in food production today. And our company aligns very nicely with the rapidly growing ESG investment category. We are an important company, even though we're teeny relative to the multi-billion giants in our industry. But we are a thought leader and an innovator, and people look to us to drive biologicals into the market, which is what we're doing. We're the only pure play public biologicals company, so there is a microscope on us. And we have developed a line of products and acquired some others that are now ramping up, and I'll talk more specifically about that. And so we're focusing on revenue and margin growth and getting to break even in a short term, with prudent investments prioritized for revenue generating from our R&D pipeline. And everything we do is patented. We do operate in a huge industry, and the biologicals category, there's three of them, bioprotection or crop protection or pest management, is growing the fastest. And then the biostimulants, which increase crop growth or reduce crop stress, and bionutrients, providing nutrients to crops in a biological way, are also growing at double digits. The 18 over to 19 bioprotection, crop protection was negative 1%, so it was actually not growing. The chemical pesticides was not growing last year. And we're growing faster than any of these numbers as well with our products. Well, the key here is offering products that can provide a better performance, better ROI to the grower, improved yields and quality when incorporated into programs. Great for organic farmers, but 70% of our sales, and actually 70% of all biologicals, are used by conventional farmers because of that better ROI. And we also have new tools that can help against pest resistance. You can spray in the morning, be back in the field in the afternoon. Great for labor management, with farmers having a really tough time getting enough labor these days. And you can spray right up to harvest and not worry about pesticide residues. And they are soft on the environment. And also, we have done a study that shows our products actually are much lower in carbon footprint than competing chemical pesticides. I'm not going to go into detail about our products, but our products are based on plant extracts or biochemicals or microbes. And the microbes can be dead or alive. And we have a number of very novel ones. And our idea here is to create a portfolio across the full range of grower needs for crop protection and nutrition and stress reduction. We have focused historically at Marrone Bio on crop protection, but with some recent acquisitions of JetAg and Jet Oxide, and with ProFarm, UBP 110 provides crop nutrition, we've expanded into all three of the fast-growing biological categories. And with a broad portfolio like this gives us more influence with the grower as well as with our distribution channel customer. Rather than being a little company that comes with one solution, we are constantly innovating and providing biological solutions that fit a full range of needs. In our pipeline, we are focusing very tightly because of our resource restrictions and resource allocations on our R&D. With our number one is what we call Super Majestene, which is the next generation insecticide nematicide of our Majestene and Venerate products. And our R&D has amped up this microbe to produce more of the pesticidal compounds. So it goes from, say, 6 ounces per acre for seed treatment, seed coating, down to less than an ounce, a half to a third of an ounce. So we're driving this product to be through our R&D improvements to become even more competitive and to become a significant, huge product in our portfolio. Followed by that, as resources permit, we are continuing the development of MBII 014 and its new formulation, even improved formulation called MBII 015, and finishing the development and EPA submissions on that weed control, which also we think is going to be a significant product because 40% of the global pesticide market is weed control, and many weeds have developed resistance to chemicals, and organic farmers don't have very many good solutions either. And the rest of the pipeline we've got there, but we're not working on them because of our tight resources in R&D, but we expect to get to them and refresh the pipeline in the future as we move Super Majestene and 014 and 015 forward. We have our own plant in Michigan, and this gives us a much better control over being able to constantly improve our processes to drive that gross margin and to maintain our IP and keep control of our IP. And we make 3 of our products there, and in the future hope to expand, hope to retrofit some of the plants in order to bring a particular microbe in there that forms the basis of Venerate and Majestene, and we're working on that. So now I'm going to give you an update of some of the things going on within the company. So we announced the U.S. launch of Pace Setter. This is not weed extract like our Regalia product, but it's a new formulation, and this is a new one for row crops, and we've set up new distribution. We've got great data showing the increase in yields in corn and soybeans with addition of this product, so we've announced the launch of that. We've also announced the EPA approval, and we do have sales of jet oxide 15%, which is a higher concentration of our sanitizer jet oxide product, peroxyacetic acid, and this one is EPA approved for coronavirus. We are getting some use on that one, but even more importantly, what's interesting is when we announced the availability of the 15%, we're getting a lot of sales on the 5% version, which you can actually spray on crops to sanitize the lettuces, the leafy greens themselves, whereas jet oxide is for hard surfaces. We are continuing our, in spite of the tough times here, we are continuing our trials because of the importance of our next generation products. We are doing seed treatment trials, and you can see some of the trial work going on in the photos in the slide. We submitted our new biofungicide, Stargus, for downy mildews and white molds and bunch rot of grapes to Europe. And that's a significant milestone. It's a very tough registration process in Europe, but we met all the requirements to submit, so we did that. We also have some expanded labels for Stargus in Canada. We also just learned yesterday that we got the first ever indoor and outdoor hemp and cannabis label in Canada for Regalia Max, which is another one of our fungicide plant health products. And some statistics. Regalia is an older one of our products. It's actually our first product, and it was sprayed, still growing, still was sprayed on 11% more acres in California year over year. And then we targeted almonds specifically because it's a big crop in California and an important one. And Regalia was sprayed on 80% more acres in 2019 than 2018. Now, ProFarm we purchased in September of last year, and we're really glad we did because there's tremendous synergies between ProFarm and Marrone Bio. And what this Finland company does is takes pulp from the pulp and paper process, takes wood waste, and has a proprietary process that creates a sort of a matrix or a macromolecule, and then they can put tiny amounts of nutrients, crop nutrients in there, and the macromolecule absorbs the nutrients a lot better, so you can deliver a lower dose at a lower cost to the plant through foliarly or through seed treatment, which is what we've been focusing on. And this is a competitive, very competitive offering, and we are expecting very good growth from the addition of this to our portfolio. And there's just showing some brands that they can be applied directly onto the seed. And the seed treatment product has a commercial agreement with one of the largest seed companies that's going to be driving the product as seed treatment onto approximately 25 million acres in 2021 and 2020 and 2021 growing season. So we're excited about the growth potential. And then we have some data of our own testing the foliar version with our own PaceSetter product and showing that together they can be the best performing at increasing yields of corn and soybeans compared to our own product with the chemical combination, either ProFarm with chemical and our own PaceSetter or Regalia with the chemical. So we're excited about the potential of the synergies of this technology with our own products. Here's some data on wheat. So a lot of data has been generated on corn and some of the European crops like sugar beets, and here's some great data for a very large crop around the globe. This was generated in Latin America, 2 formulations, showing you the significant increase in yields when we added ProFarm to the current commercial seed treatment. Very exciting and an expansion opportunity for us. And speaking of PaceSetter, which we just announced the launch of, this is what's called a piano chart on soybeans. And this is for when you add PaceSetter to an existing fungicide program, it boosts the yield above the existing fungicide, just like we saw with ProFarm product together with PaceSetter in combination. This is in combination with the chemical and showing the yield advantage. This is a very good win rate. So 1% of the time there was an increase in yield, and so and in soybeans over 2 bushels per acre. So this is a 4-to-1 return on investment, even in low prices of commodities of corn and soybeans. We are able to deliver a return on investment to the grower with the addition of our products to the crops like PaceSetter on soybeans. Now we are expanding by launching new products, by having the growers use more Marrone Bio products per acre. Since our Regalia product's been out the longest, more growers are familiar with it. We now can say, okay, why don't you try Grandevo and Venerate and Majestene and Stargus on your acres as well as Regalia, and we're doing that. We are really focusing on what we call Bio Unite, and that is the combination of our product with the leading chemical in the marketplace to increase the quality and yields compared to the chemical-only program. And we're aggressive in almonds last year, and I will talk about some of the increases of that. We had a significant penetration into almonds because of the focus on Bio Unite. For navel orangeworm and for mites, Venerate and Grandevo, in combination with the 2 leading chemicals, got significant market share in the first year of our Bio Unite push because the combination gave less damage on the crop, and that means more dollars in the grower's pocket. And we are doing both push and pull in our marketing. We are working with distributors and in a push strategy, but at the same time, we doing a lot of demos on the farm to pull through sales, to educate the grower, because a lot of growers are not yet fully up to speed on biologicals as a category or with our brands. So we're doing, and now that everything's gone online, we're doing a lot of online teaching and webinars and so forth that used to be in person. About a third of our sales are now row crops. That's a significant increase. In the past, we were nearly all specialty crops, high-value fruits, nuts, and vegetables. We're excited to be really making a lot of real inroads into the row crop markets through our seed treatment relationships in the U.S. with Venerate, with our was on about 5 million acres last year through our partnership with Alba, and then now the ProFarm partnership with the large seed company in Europe, driving that even further. Just for your information, by the way, the crop protection market in specialty crops is actually as big as the row crop market. They're both very large segments. It's just that the trees, nuts and vines, fruits and vegetables, the specialty crop market is a lot more fragmented, but it's much higher value. So the actual dollar value of both segments is quite significant to us, and we will continue to sell into both those and continue our row crop expansion and our specialty crop expansion. We are now about 90-10, 90% U.S. based in terms of our sales, 10% international. The biologicals are growing faster outside the United States than inside. Inside still growth, good growth market, but it's a much more mature market because we have a much faster regulatory process for biologicals in the U.S., thank goodness. And so, but outside where the market is less mature, there's very significant biologicals growth, and we need to participate in that. So we anticipate a significant movement in our international growth over time in the next few years. Now, looking at our financials, we have been doing well and focusing on increasing our revenue and increasing our gross profit and our gross margin through process improvements, our R&D driven. They tweak the microbes, amp them up, having them make more pesticidal molecules, higher yields, and then transfer those processes to our manufacturing, where we get manufacturing efficiencies with scale. And this is driving our margins significantly. I think 5 years ago we had a negative gross margin, so we've amazingly increased that. Now on the annual gross margin, we actually have the 2015 to 2019 is a 36. It says here 25. It's actually 36% from 2015 to 2019. So we've been growing very steadily, but we expect, COVID-19 is throwing some uncertainty, but with normal operations, we are expecting to accelerate the growth rate over the 2019 growth rate. But we're cautiously optimistic, but there's a lot of, as I'll talk about in a minute, some disruption of things going on in the world right now. So, our first priority is the health and safety of our employees, but we are considered an essential business, and we continue operating. But most of our employees are working remotely, while others work in shifts for critical work, such as in our manufacturing plant in Michigan. But we do have live organisms that need, like insects. We have an insectary that needs to be taken care of. And as I mentioned earlier, our sales team and tech service, and even myself, I've been doing webinars and doing customer and industry education online. It was exciting. I did a webinar last week for the American Chemical Society on natural products for pest management, and broke a record on the number of attendees, and had 365 attendees, of most of which were from the industry. So happy to continue to that educational process to get people up to speed on the value and performance and excitement we have for biologicals. We have announced that we did receive our $1.7 million loan as part of the Paycheck Protection Program to protect our employees. And we have also, the board announced that they have identified a final CEO candidate. It's moving the search along to an advanced stage. Now, what's happening in ag? Well, our team continues to work through the crisis to help farmers. We're right there with them, with our products. But it's a little bit still too early to know the full effect on ag and food production. First quarter, everyone was okay. We're positive about our first quarter, but it's early, and there's been, as you know, drastic changes in food and where it's going in the supply chains, because more demand at supermarkets, but less demand at restaurants and food service, and how that's going to whipsaw which crops are favored or not. But the farmers that we know and our customers are entering their critical business period of ramping up production of their fruits and vegetables, and planting hundreds of millions of row crops. And last year was a horrible year for corn and soybeans because of the massive floods in the Midwest. This year looks to be a better year, and additional acres being added. In the first quarter, the growers already had pre-built their inventories and distributors with the ag inputs, so there's no issues in getting access to pest management products at this time. But of course, growers are having, as they have been, even pre-COVID, enough access to labor. And then, of course, you have a lot more you have to do to protect the workers and the health and safety procedures for farm workers. So that's a consideration. Well, we're helping with our products, both jet oxide 15% for sanitation of hard surfaces, but also jet oxide 5% that you can sanitize actually the crop itself. We have a large grower, almond grower on our board, and he says that almond processing and the farm operations are generally unaffected right now. That's a permanent crop, and it's not a perishable, so it's business as usual. Now, potatoes has experienced some interesting changes. A lot of demand for fresh, less demand for processed potatoes. So we have the largest potato grower on our board, and he said that he expects the processing potato acres are expected to be down about 10 to 20% versus their original 2020 forecast. So just to wrap up, we are a significant company despite being very teeny in this industry. As I mentioned, we're important because people look to us to lead, to innovate, to show the way on biologicals and how they can be adopted. There's a lot of companies that started up but haven't made it to where we are. We've made it. We've crossed the chasm. We are moving that adoption curve with farmers because of the products we have and the innovation and the approach we've taken. So we are ramping up our revenue and getting some strategically focusing on some revenue-generating near-term projects while putting on hold the others due to the budgets we have. And we are working to get to break even in the near term, so we can be self-sufficient. Again, we're an important company. We're providing important products. We are one company that has broken the code, our competitors say, on biologicals. Not everybody's been able to do that. So it's important that we continue the progress and forward march that we've been on to continue to bring growers these types of products and create the value for shareholders that we need to. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer questions. And I have Jim Boyd, our CFO, on the line as well, if there are any questions. Okay, I'm looking at the questions. I'll read them. Are there any health risks associated with these products? No, our products are very well regulated. They go through the Environmental Protection Agency and our pest management products, and they're well regulated with a lot of requirements, cost a couple $1 million to get through the process. So the safety has been established through the process. And just to give you a statistic, in 70 years, when the first original biological pesticide was commercialized, BT, which is for controlling insects, there's never been an environmental or health incident with biologicals. So it's been an incredible record.
And Pam, I might add, I don't think you said during the presentation, they're all organically registered as organic and safe for organic production, except one, which is an extract from coconut oil, but by the definitions of organic, it's not allowed to be registered as organic.
Right. Yep, but as I mentioned, 70% of our sales are for conventional farmers, so they're seeing the benefits as well. I'll read another question. Congratulations on securing the 1.7 million PPP. How many workers does Marrone Bio currently employ? We have about 150 employees. How do you anticipate headcount changing on a going-forward basis into 2021 and 22? Well, we are not filling very many open positions, and we are, I wouldn't say, we're kind of in a hiring freeze. We're looking at each and every, when someone leaves, if that one should be filled. So we're not really adding any new headcount at this time. And we're fortunate to be able to protect the ones we have for at least a period of time with the PPP. And then another question, are you making inroads into Africa and India? In Africa, we do have a partner, and we are registered with one product in Morocco and South Africa, and we'll shortly begin selling in South Africa. We are just in the final stages of a distribution agreement there. And we have a second product, Majestene, that should be shortly registered in Morocco. We are doing registration activities in other places in Africa. Places like Kenya have surprisingly draconian registration process for biologicals, so it's taking longer. Now, India, we are not aggressively going into India, but we do have a partner that we're working with to do trials to go through. Again, not an easy registration process for crop protection products there. So we're working with a large industry partner in that country. Right. Doesn't look like we have any more questions as far as I can see. I have refreshed. No. Okay. I think we're right on time. If there are no more questions, I would like to thank you all for listening to the Marrone Bio story, and stay safe, stay healthy in these tough times. So glad that we can be here to inform you about the company. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes today's webcast. You may disconnect your lines at this time. Thank you for your participation.